The 2017 college football season is in the books, and we had a great final regular season weekend of college football. Alabama goes down to Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Miami goes down to Pittsburgh on Black Friday. So, the top of the college football playoff rankings are bound to change. And I'm here just in time for a brand new top 10 rankings release. Now, this is just my own personal rankings. I mean, just don't take these things personal. The committee's probably going to have different rankings than I am. Other experts have different rankings than I do. So it means a lot for those of you that are watching this, knowing that I'm a great and valuable asset for the playoff rankings. Now, this is just overall my opinion. I know about the rankings I have right now. They may be covered up right now, but once it's going to be revealed, I know there's going to be some controversy in the comment section. So, don't take things too personal. This is just my own rankings. And this is my second to last rankings of the year, unfortunately, because next week, Conference Championship Weekend, when that's complete, we'll find out the top 4 teams will be playing for the national championship. But I'll be back next Saturday after the Conference Championship games are done. It's not going to be a top 10, but it's going to more like be a top 6. Because a lot of the things are going to be settled down after that. Hopefully we don't have an argument this year. Or at least not have anything like the first year where we had TCU from number 3 to number 6 just from Conference Championship Weekend. So let's get to my rankings here. Now, normally if you've watched before, obviously, I've started from about 1 or 2, then worked my way back to the front again. But I'm going to start backwards this time. So, at number 10, I have the TCU Horned Frogs. Now, I know the committee might end up putting someone like Penn State there, but what I'm hoping the committee does is they realize teams of what they still have to play for. Which, it leads me to my number 9, the USC Trojans. I'm kind of hoping the committee does that, like where they realize that USC and TCU still has conference championships to play for, and Penn State doesn't. So that's why I've been fed up with the committee for the last 2 weeks when they put Penn State number 10 instead of a team like USC or TCU that still has stuff to play for. I've just been fed up with that by the committee. I hope they realize that these 2 teams in particular have something to play for this weekend, or this upcoming weekend, and Penn State doesn't. At number 8, this is where the controversy is going to start. But I have the Miami Hurricanes number 8. And I know that Miami lost that. They had that one bad game against Pittsburgh on Black Friday. However, the score didn't. It wasn't like. It's not like having the real game being described to someone. And what I mean by that is the scoreboard said they lost only 24-14. But in reality, the touchdown late in that game, I think it was like 2.5 minutes left. That was just like a little too late thing. So technically they lost in a way 24-7. And I know they had 2 turnovers and the turnover chain came out twice in that game. But their offense just wasn't on all cylinders. I mean, if anything, their offense wasn't on any cylinders whatsoever. They had that one good touchdown drive, but nothing else after that. So I dropped Miami to 8. And at number 7, yeah, this is going to be really controversial, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Kind of the thing. Ohio State may have 2 bad losses. One to Oklahoma by 13 at home, and another to Iowa on the road. But still, Ohio State still has they still have a decent resume, though. They beat Penn State. They really grinded out a win against Penn State in October. Ohio State also has... When Ohio State's their best, they look like one of the best teams in college football. They can match up to the top teams on paper and match up to them physically. But still, that just feels like Ohio State's only significant win, which honestly it kind of is. But if they can beat Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game, ruin their undefeated season, they could end up having some sort of resume to get in the top 4. But will it be enough? That's the question. At number 6, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. And this could cause some controversy depending on how you're looking at it. Some could say Alabama could end up only falling maybe to number 5. Some could say they could still be number 4. But the way I see this, Alabama didn't have as significant of a resume as some teams in this top 5 are going to have. I mean, Alabama had the significant victory against Florida State week 1, but what people are seeming to exclude that victory because Florida State is now 5-6. They need to win next against Louisiana Monroe just to get into a bowl game. But the quarterback did go down in the game, yes. But when he went down, Alabama was still leading 24-7 in that game. So they were already winning that game convincingly. So if he didn't go down, it's like Alabama beat the number 3 team 24-7 that day. And plus, Alabama has also beaten Mississippi State on the road. They've beaten LSU. So they have really, in my opinion, 3 good victories. I just think that Florida State victory is a good victory because they were winning that game handily when the QB went down. And most likely that quarterback going down was the main source of the struggling season. Anyway, moving on to number 5, I have the Georgia Bulldogs. And I know what people are thinking. Alabama lost to Auburn by a least amount of points than Georgia did. I know that. But Georgia, they've had a convincing schedule as well. They had the win against Notre Dame, which that win may end up dropping them a little bit because Notre Dame's a 3-loss team. But still, it doesn't matter, though. They went on the road. It was a grinded-out win for Georgia. Because Notre Dame was dominating the game up until that 2.5 minute left in the game mark. So I put Georgia at 5. I know it's going to cause some controversy a little bit. But that's kind of a thing of that's kind of like the deal of what Georgia still has to play for. So, at number 4, moving to the top 4, the Auburn Tigers. Now, I know they have 2 losses, but still, it doesn't matter. Those 2 losses are to Clemson, who's in the top 3, obviously, and to LSU, which LSU finished the year 9-3. I feel like if LSU didn't lose that one game to Troy, Auburn could end up falling to maybe 3 or number 2 in the committee rankings. Anyway, the top 3. At this point, pause the video and comment who you think's going to be number 1 in this whole deal. But still, number 3, finally moving into the top 4, the Wisconsin Badgers. Now, I know people think that Wisconsin doesn't have the resume to get into the college football playoff. Actually, they do. Wisconsin, they have victories over ranked opponents, such as Iowa, Michigan, and Northwestern. People seem to keep forgetting about. Because the more that Northwestern was winning in previous weeks, the more it was helping Wisconsin, considering they dominated Northwestern. They may have trailed Northwestern at the half, but they dominated the second half. So that win is becoming more and more significant as this season's going along. So if Wisconsin were to lose by maybe 3 points in the Big Ten title game, could Wisconsin get in as a 1-loss team? That's the question. Now, Clemson or Oklahoma, which one's number 1? The answer to that question is, I have Clemson at 1 and Oklahoma at 2. Now, I know the argument's going to really ensue that Clemson's 1 loss was to Syracuse and Oklahoma's 1 loss was to Iowa State. But here's really the deal. Clemson didn't have Kelly Bryant in that game, and now Clemson is healthy, and when Clemson's 100% healthy, I think they're the best team in college football. And Oklahoma's number 2 because they may have lost to Iowa State, who is better than Syracuse, but Oklahoma was dominating the game early on. That's the game they should have won because they were up by, I believe they were up by 17 at some point in that game. But they just let that game get away from them. And that's the difference for me between Clemson being number 1 and Oklahoma being number 2. And if you have a problem with it, comment your problem with it in the comment section down below, and I'll respond. Anyway, that's my top 10. Comment your top 10 down below. Like and share the channel. Share this with your friends and family. I will be back for my conference championship game predictions a little bit within the next 48 hours. And I'll also be back with the NFL picks within the next 72 hours. And I'll be back next Saturday for my final playoff rankings of the year. It's bittersweet. It's not going to be top 10, but it's just going to probably be top 6. Anyway, I will see you in my next video. Have a great night / day whenever you're watching. I'll see you next time.